do the things that's necessary for us to do, we might attain salvation. Many people are talking about salvation, but when you listen to what folks are talking about, they're talking about a whole lot of junk, and we know it. So I always try to give my Creator the glory and honor that's due to His holy name for teaching us these things, because what it shows is that your names are written in the Lamb's book of life that was slain from the foundation of the earth. And today, we really need the truth, because when you look around, there's a whorehouse on every corner, seems like. As a matter of fact, it's 4 right around us here. But the thing is that, y'all, like I said before, Yahweh is teaching us the things that we need to know so that we be aware of these things. That way, we can try to serve Him in truth and righteousness, and if we do these things, then truly we might attain salvation. But Brother Steve, read the oracles of the church and invite him who stands at the door that he may come in and sup with us and us with him, that we may continue to read out of this great legacy and consider what we read, because our time truly is at hand.
I'm going to read the oracles of the church beginning at 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man have received a gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as to the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yeshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth.
Hold up, brother.
Excuse me.
Tab her up. Come get this baby.
I better read this out of here, because this is not right.
Go ahead, brother.
Yes, sir. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you are sealed unto the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim, for the anointed one's sake, have forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim as dear children, and walk in love, as the anointed one also have loved us, and have given himself for us an offering and a sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness, all covetousness, let it not be one's name among you as becometh saints, neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks.
Praise Yah.
Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I also overcame and am set down with my Father in his throne. He that have an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
Praise Yah. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the church and Holy Convention. I got this class titled Lucifer's Brothel.
Oh.
And I'd like to start our class today in 1 Corinthians 3 and verse 1 through chapter 4 and verse 21. And what we're going to try to do is I'm going to try to give you a brief history of the church so you can understand what this Christian thing truly is all about. And in the ending, it's all about one thing: money and power. 1 Corinthians 3, and Brother Steve picked that up for me at verse 1.
And I, brethren, could not speak unto you as unto spiritual, but as unto carnal, even as unto babes in the anointed
Now,
one.
he's speaking to the Gentiles at Corinth now. Okay, go ahead, brother.
Yes, sir. Verse 2. I have fed you with milk and not with meat. For hitherto you were not able to bear it, neither yet now are you able. For you are yet carnal. For whereas there is among you envying and strife and divisions, are not you carnal and walk as men? For while one says, I am of Saul, and another, I am of Apollos, are you not carnal? Who then is Saul, and who is Apollos, but ministers by whom you believe, even as the Adonai gave to every man? I have planted, Apollos watered, but Elohim gave the increase. So then, neither is he that plants anything, neither he that waters, but Elohim that gives the increase. Now he that plants and he that waters are one, and every man shall receive his own reward according to his own labor. For we are laborers together with Elohim. You are Elohim's husbandry. You are Elohim's building. According to the grace of Elohim which is given unto me, as a wise master builder, I have laid the foundation, and another builds thereon. But let every man take heed how he builds thereupon. For other foundation can no man lay than that is laid, which is Yahshua HaMashiach. Now if any man build upon this foundation gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, stubble, every man's work shall be made manifest, for the day shall declare it, because it shall be revealed by fire, and the fire shall try every man's work of what sort it is.
Praise Yah.
If any man's work abide which he have built thereupon, he shall receive a reward. If any man's work shall be burned, he shall suffer loss, but he himself shall be saved, yet so is by fire.
This is why I tell y'all, do your job. Folks come in here and they want to get up and leave, let them leave. It's nothing but burning works, but you know that you did your job, so that goes under your account as doing your job and getting them in church.
Yeah, so that's just like saying from gold to stubble. That's just like saying from the best to the least, or
Yes, sir. Verse 16. Know you not that you are the temple of Elohim, and that the spirit of Elohim dwells in you? If any man defile the temple of Elohim, him shall Elohim destroy. For the temple of Elohim is holy, which temple you are. Let no man deceive himself. If any man among you seems to be wise in this world, let him become a fool, that he may be wise. For the wisdom of this world is foolishness with Elohim. For it is written, he takes the wise in their own craftiness. And again, the Adonai knows the thoughts of the wise, that they are vain. Therefore let no man glory in men, for all things are yours, whether Saul, or Apollos, or Cephas, or the world, or life, or death, or things present, or things to come, all are yours, and you are the Mashiach's, and the Mashiach is Elohim. Let a man so account of us as of the ministers of the Mashiach and stewards of the mysteries of Elohim. Moreover, it is required in stewards that a man be found faithful. But with me, it is a very small thing that I should be judged of you, or a man's judgment. Yea, I judge not mine own self. For I know nothing by myself, yet am I not hereby justified, but he that judges me is the Adonai. Therefore judge nothing before the time until the Adonai come, who both will bring to light the hidden things of darkness, and will make manifest the counsels of the hearts, and then shall every man have praise of Yah. And these things, brethren, I have in a figure transferred to myself and to Apollo for your sakes, that you might learn in us not to think of men above that which is written, that no one of you be puffed up for one against another.
Now, what was happening at Corinth was that it was getting to the place where there was a deep division as far as the doctrine was concerned, and as far as who was doing what. And it was a lot of fornication, and he had to explain to them about marriage and so forth, because these Gentiles was doing the same thing then that they're doing today. Okay, so Paul had to admonish them. This is why he had to write them 2 epistles, because these Gentiles had got off into some stuff wherein they were doing what they wanted to do instead of what they were told to do. But go ahead and read, Steve.
Verse 7. For who maketh thee to differ from another? And what have thou that thou didst not receive? Now if thou didst receive it, why do thou glory as if thou hadst not received it? Now you are full, now you are rich. You have reigned as kings without us, and I would to Elohim you did reign, that we also might reign with you. For I think that Elohim have set forth us, the apostles, last, as it were appointed to death. For we are made a spectacle unto the world, and to angels, and to men. We are fools for the anointed one's sake, but you are wise in the anointed one. We are weak, but you are strong. You are honorable, but we are despised. Even unto this present hour we both hunger and thirst, and are naked, and are buffeted, and have no certain dwelling place, and labor, working with our own hands. Being reviled, we bless. Being persecuted, we suffer it. Being defamed, we entreat. We are made as the filth of the world, and are the offscouring of all things unto this day. I write not these things to shame you, but as my beloved sons, I warn you.
Right. This is the way you feel about us, and I know this is the way you feel about us. But I'm not writing these things to you to defame, but we entreat. You know, be like we are, because we are as the Messiah. We are in the Messiah's stead unto you. But go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 15. For though you have 10,000 instructors and the anointed one, yet have you not many fathers. For in the Mashiach Yahshua I have begotten you through the gospel. Wherefore I beseech you, be you followers of me. For this cause have I sent unto you Timothy, who is my beloved son, and faithful in the Adonai, who shall bring you into remembrance of my ways, which be in the Mashiach, as I teach everywhere in every church. Now some are puffed up, as though I would not come to you, but I will come to you shortly, if the Adonai will, and will know not the speech of them which are puffed up, but the power. For the kingdom of Elohim is not in word, but in power. What will you? Shall I come unto you with a rod, or in love, and in the spirit of meekness?
Right. Paul told him, saying, y'all y'all down there talking that crazy talk like I ain't coming. I'm coming to you, but I don't want to hear your words. I want to hear your power. I want to see your power. And this is what I try to instill in people's mind, that the kingdom is in power and not in words. I mean, it's many people that has read this book from Genesis to Revelation, but they haven't gotten into power, simply because the Spirit hasn't given them that power. 1 Timothy 1 and verse 1 through verse 11. People walking around talking about, yeah, I'm a this person here and I'm a that person there and so forth and so on. And there was a great division in the church. And Paul had to get that thing kind of straightened out, because if he did, it was going to take place, and that the church was going to wax worse and worse, which it did. But go ahead, 1 Timothy 1 and verse 1 through verse 11.
Saul, and of Yeshua HaMashiach, by the commandment of Elohim, our Savior, and the Adonai, Yeshua HaMashiach, which is our hope, unto Timothy, mine own son, in the faith, grace and mercy and peace from Yah, our Father, and from Yeshua HaMashiach, our Adonai. As I besought you to abide still at Ephesus, when I went into Macedonia, that you might charge some that they teach no doctrine, neither give heed to fables and endless genealogies, which ministers questions, rather than godly edifying, which is in faith, so do.
You see what they was getting into? Now, we just read about what was going on in Corinth. Now you see what they was getting off into in the book of Ephesus? Go ahead and read, brother.
1 Timothy chapter 1, verse 5. Now the end of the commandment is love out of a pure heart and of a good conscience and of faith unfeigned. Some, having swerved, have turned aside unto vain jangling, desiring to be teachers of the law, understanding neither what they say nor whereof they affirm.
So now we see what was happening. Now at Ephesus, they had got off into a laity. You see, they was heaping clergies up to themselves, right? And Paul said they desire to be teachers of the law, understanding neither what they say nor what they affirm, but they desire to be teachers of the law. See? Law ain't going to save you. See? Go ahead and read, brother.
Yes, sir. Verse 8. But we know that the law is good if a man does it lawfully. Knowing this, that the law is not made for a righteous man, but for the lawless and disobedient, for the ungodly and for sinners, for unholy and profane, for murderers of fathers and murderers of mothers, for manslayers, for whoremongers, for them that defile themselves with mankind, for men stealers, for liars, for perjurers, persons, and if there be any other thing that is contrary to sound doctrine, according to the glorious gospel of the blessed Elohim, which was committed to my trust.
Okay, my brother. Verse 8, pick that up at verse 18, rather. I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. This charge I commit unto thee, son Timothy, according to the prophecies on you, that you by them might war a good warfare, faith and a good conscience, which some, having put away concerning faith, have made shipwreck, of whom is Hymenaeus and Alexander, whom I have delivered unto Satan, that they may learn not to blaspheme.
I bet you one thing. I bet you once he delivered them up to Satan and cut them off, then they walked around really bang jangling then. Chapter 4 and verse 1 through verse 8.
Now the Spirit speaks expressly that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils, speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with forbidden to marry, and to abstain from meats, which Elohim have created to be received with thanksgiving of them which believe and know the truth.
And we know that the Catholic Church did forbid their priests from marrying, right? And that gave them, of course, that gave them an opportunity to play game with them little altar boys, walk around singing like a little bunch of little young girls. And they tell you, say, wait, on Friday,
right,
you can't eat any meat, but you can eat fish. Ain't fish meat?
That's right.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I had a conversation about that when we were eating fish in elementary school, and I said what they did, they took the fish away and they put it with dairy products, right?
Right.
And I always try to figure out what does fish have to do with, eggs and milk, and she said fish was not meat. It doesn't have a meaty taste.
It doesn't have a meaty taste. You got blood in it, ain't it?
That's right. It's got a soul too, right?
And it got veins and stuff in it?
Right.
Okay, well, it got blood.
Right.
Of course, brother. See, doctrine that the Roman Catholic Church was getting off into, and you got to understand what was going on back in those days. The only people that really had books was the monks. and so forth. The common people, man, the common people never knew what was going on. This is why they were so easily deceived and why so much stuff was going on. This is why once Paul set Timothy as the overseer later on, once he was in prison, he warned them the things that in the church and told them about the apostasy that was going to come about. And it had to come about in order for things to get in the condition that they are in now, because Lucifer has to bring his thing up on the earth also. He has to produce the armies and the countries and so forth that's going to fight with the Messiah when he, and like he told Lucifer, you so slick you've deceived. See, you've deceived yourself, and he actually believed that he's going to be able to defeat the Messiah when he shows back on the scene. But this is Lucifer the time that he needs, like I said, to amass the army so that Yahweh's word will be fulfilled. And they got nothing to do with nothing else but Yahweh's word being fulfilled. Okay, go ahead and finish up, Steve.
What I don't understand is if he went to heaven to fight against the angels in heaven himself, what makes him think he's going to defeat them on the earth when he gets thrown down?
Like you said, you deceive yourself. You've deceived yourself. You got so much power. You the prince of the earth. Deceive yourself with all of this paganism that you got running rampant up on the earth. Now you think you're God. Okay? But you're going to end up in that lake of fire. Yeah. Go ahead and finish up, Steve.
1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 4. The creature of Elohim is good, and nothing to be refused if it be received with thanksgiving.
That don't mean you got to eat it.
Right, it's true.
That don't mean you got to eat it. And people used to, they'd hire out those swine. Once you get your crop in, swine, they go out there and eat what's on the ground and so forth. They keep that ground aerated.
Right.
See, that's what people had swines for. We didn't eat it. Just because it's good don't mean you got to eat it. You wouldn't eat a buzzard, will you? You wouldn't eat it. Well, he's good too. Okay, go ahead and read, Steve.
Verse 5. For it is sanctified by the word of Yah and prayer. If thou put the brethren in remembrance of these things, thou shalt be a good minister of Yahshua HaMashiach, nourished up in the words of faith and of good doctrine, whereunto thou hast attained. But refuse profane and old wives' fables, and exercise yourself rather unto godliness. For bodily exercise is profitable unto all things, having promise of the life that now is and of that come. This is a faithful saying and worthy of all acceptation. I went too far, brother. It was verse 1 through 8.
Okay.
I'm sorry about that.
It's quite all right.
Okay.
It's quite all right, my brother. When we study the works of the apostles Peter and Saul, the master's servants, the epistles show us that during the apostles' lifetime, the Gentiles the apostles set assemblies among had began to lean to their own understanding. Although Brother Saul constantly rebuked the Gentiles being fickle-minded, many departed from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits, bringing their own religion of Christianity among the Europeans. After Herod began to persecute the Jews, and after the Romans banned the Jews from Rome, and after after Emperor Nero killed Peter and Saul and exiled John to the prison colony at Patmos, General Titus destroyed our holy city of Zion and Africans. Then the Gentiles began in earnest to set in place their own laity, which had already began. 3 John, verse 9 through verse 11. I just want to read two verses out of that, brother. 3 John, verse 9 through verse 11.
I wrote unto the church, but Diotrephes, who loves to have the preeminence among them, receives us not. Wherefore, if I come, I will remember his does prating against us with malicious words, and not he himself received the brethren, and forbids them that would, and cast them out of the church. Beloved, follow not that which is evil, but that which is good. He that doeth good is of Elohim, but he that doeth evil is Elohim.
So we see what was going on now with what this brother here wants to deal with. He was throwing them out. Then wouldn't even allow the brethren that came from Judea to come in and get set matters straight, right? Okay, let's go and pick this up in Revelation chapter 2 in verse 1 through verse 29. Now remember, the things that are written about the churches are periods of time. Okay, each church covered periods of time. Okay, Revelation chapter 2, and pick that up at verse 1.
Unto the angel Ephesus, write, these things says 7 stars in his right hand, who walks in the midst of the 7 golden candlesticks. I know your works, and your labor, and your patience, and how you cannot bear them which are evil, and you have tried them which say they are apostles, and are not, and have found and have borne, and have patience, and for my name's sake have labored, and have...
What all these good things he said about him, right? Go ahead, brother.
Verse 4. I have somewhat against because you have left your first love.
Right. You left off becoming being a proselyte to Judaism. You left off that. Now y'all have already started calling everybody Christians. You left. Now you want to hold ball of wax for yourself. Go ahead and read, brother.
Yes, sir. Verse 5. Remember therefore from whence thou art fallen, and repent, and do the first works, or else I will come unto you quickly his place, except you repent. But this you have, that you hate the deeds of the Nicolaitans, which I also. He that have an ear, the Spirit says unto the churches. To him that overcomes will I give to eat of the tree of life, midst of the paradise.
Where is the church of Ephesus? Go ahead, brother.
Verse 8. Unto the angel of the church in Smyrna write, these things says the first and the last, which was dead and is alive. I know thy works, and tribulation, and poverty, but thou art rich. Know the blasphemy of them, say they are the synagogue of Satan.
Right, just like we read when you get in the book of Acts, you see how those brothers was following went, and Silas and Luke, rather. Every place they was following right behind them, teaching a false doctrine to the people. It was a new thing on the scene, and they just could not understand how could do away with certain sections of the law. They didn't understand that. That's why they didn't believe in the Messiah when he showed up on the scene, simply because of the fact that it wasn't given to believe. This is why I keep telling folks, you can't serve the Creator unless he wants you to. Go ahead and read. And you know what? You can do a whole lot of things for the Creator and still be kicked to the curb, because it's the Spirit that's doing the work. And he used whatever talent to a congregation for the advancement of what the Spirit is doing and not man. So never because you're doing certain things in the church, you might be out there doing it next week. Didn't it? Okay, go ahead and read, brother.
Revelations chapter 2, verse 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that you may be tried, and you shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. Hear what the Spirit says unto the church. He that overcomes shall be heard of the second death. And to the angel of the church of the church in Pergamos write, these things says he which have the sharp sword with 2 edges. I know thy works, and where thou dwellest, even where Satan's seat is, and thou holdest fast my name, and hast not my those days wherein Antipas was my faithful martyr, who was slain among you, where Satan dwells. But I have a few things against you, because you have there them that hold the doctrine of Balaam, who taught Balak to cast a stumbling block before the children of Israel, to eat things sacrificed unto idols, and to commit fornication. So have you also them that hold the doctrine of conscience, which things repent, are quickly, and will fight against the sword of my mouth. He that have an ear, let him hear what it says unto the churches. To him that overcomes, to eat of the hidden manna, and will give him a white stone, and in the stone a new name written, no man knoweth, saving he that receives it. Unto the angel, I write, these things says the Son of Elohim, who have his eyes like unto a flame of fire, and his feet are like. I know thy works, and love, and service, and faith, and thy patience, and thy works, and the last more than the first. Notwithstanding, I have a few things against you, because you suffer that woman Jezebel, which called herself a prophetess, to seduce my servants to commit fornication and to eat things sacrificed.
There's the Catholic Church now. Okay, go ahead, brother.
Verse 21. And I gave her space to repent of her fornication, and she repented not. Behold, I will cast her into a bed, and them that commit adultery with her into great tribulation, except they repent of their deeds. And I will kill her children with death, and all the that I am he which searches the brains and hearts, and I will give unto every one of you according to your works. But unto you I say, and unto the rest, as many as have not this doctrine, and which have not known the depths of Satan, as they speak, I will put upon you none other burden. But that which you have already, hold fast till I come. And he that overcomes and keeps my works unto the end, give power over the nation, rule them with a rod of iron. The vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father. And I will give him the morning star. He that have an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the church.
Now, I'm going to read something to you in my book here. That's general information that's in a good Bible, and let you know what sin. It says, after the state of the date of the period of the great persecution, Pergamos, the church settled where Satan's throne is, after the conversion of Constantine, say AD 316. Tyra is developed Pergamos state, world Nicolaitism, Christian churches. As Jezebel brought idolatry into Israel, so Romanism wed Christian doctrine to pagan ceremonies. Sardis is the Protestant Reformation, whose work is whatever bears of the word and the name in the time of satisfied profession. Nico, we read about Nicolaitans. Nico means to conquer, and Laos, the people, or laity. There is no ancient authority for a sect of Nicolaitans. If the word is symbolic to the earliest form of the notion of a priestly order or clergy, which later developed an equal brotherhood into priests and laity, what Ephesus was in deeds has become in Pergamos a doctrine. You know all of this, right? Okay. When the first Gentiles began to build catacombs for their martyrs, and these sites were places of and worship during Roman attempts to stamp out the latest pagan religions, which allowed Romanism. These catacombs or religious sites had pictures depicting their version of their Good Shepherd, their version of the Last Supper, Mary and others killed by the Roman state. Thus the term holy ground emerged. And y'all see a lot of churches with the graveyard right beside the church, and the people got the holy ground. A place of dead to be holy ground. And paganism began to flourish in 312 ACE after Constantine made Christianity the legal religion of the state. Then the persecution ceased, their religion, and they moved their dead heroes catacombs to new sites and built basilicas or temples to worship on top of those graves all of Europe. In Catholic, the Church of Jezebel was backed by the state and was first called Constantine's Temple of Peace and was built upon Peter's grave. Thus the name St. Peter's Basilica until this day. Now let's go into Revelation chapter 17 and verse 1 through verse 9.
I was just saying, like PBS, they were showing a whole documentary on the scene. Speaking about
the information is available, but I need nothing. See, we go to church, we be entertained, and we through with it. We pay dearly to be entertained, just like we do when we go to the nightclub, and we be through with it.
The Gentile Nikolai, he began to was done away with.
And it remains to this day, though. See, the Gentile didn't care what we said. After the apostles got killed off, they didn't, even before the apostles got killed off, they didn't care too much about all of those seducing spirits and old wives' fables and so forth and so on. And after the apostles got put out of the way, they went hog wild with it. They had Revelation 17 and verse 1 through verse 9.
And there came one of the vows and talked with me, come here, I will show unto thee the great whore that sits upon many waters. The kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. There was a name written, Mystery, the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yeshua. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. And the angel said unto me, wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell you the woman and of the beast that carries her, which and 10 horns. The beast that you saw was and is not, shall pit and go into perdition, and they that the earth shall, whose names are not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, hold the beast that was and is not, and yet is, and which have wisdom, the 7 heads of the mountains on which the woman sits.
And we know that these are placed upon the earth, the 7 mountains. But what's interesting is verse 6. It says, and I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yeshua. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. And because there was no information coming from the Universal or Roman Catholic Church, every man lived and worshiped according to their own haughtiness and the imagination of their own lust. So were the Dark Ages. Then, in the 700s, after she had organized the doctrine, she came on the world scene singing like the whorish she is. But because of greedy Nicolaitans, who had thrust themselves into Rome's pagan religion, or priests for hire, separated the Euro-Gentiles into the Catholic Greek Orthodox Church, the Catholic Apostolic Church, the Eastern Orthodox, and the Anglican Church, all with their own doctrines and rituals and all with their own popes are holy fathers. Revelation chapter 4 and chapter 6 and verse 2. Chapter 4 and verse 1 through chapter 6 and verse 2. See, they ain't going to tell you all this stuff in the Christian church. No, no, no. That's too much like throwing the baby out with the dishwater.
That's why we got you.
Verse 1. After this I looked, and behold, a door was opened in heaven, whereof a trumpet talking, which said, Come up hither, and I will show thee things which must be hereafter. And immediately I was in the spirit, and behold, a throne was set in heaven, and one sat on it. And he that sat upon like a jasper and a sardine stone, rainbow round about the throne, in sight like unto an emerald.
And I don't care how much tan a Gentile get, he's not going to look like a jasper. Okay, go ahead and read.
Verse 4. And round about the throne were 24 seats, and upon the seats I saw 24 elders sitting, clothed in white raiment, and they had on their heads crowns of gold.
Now, this was in the year 96. The Messiah was 93. Now, people tell us today that when people die, they go right into heaven because of the only 24 elders. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 5. On proceeded lightnings and voices, and lamps burning before the throne, which are the 7 spirits of Elohim. And before the throne there was a sea of glass like unto crystal of the throne, and round about the throne were 4 beasts full of eyes before and behind. And the first beast was like a lion, and the second beast, and the third beast had a face as a man, and the fourth beast was like a flying eagle. And the 4 beasts had each of them 6 wings about him, and they rest not day and night, saying, Holy, holy, Adonai Elohim Almighty, which was and is to come.
Now, you might want to do some research on verse 7. It says, and the first was like a lion, the beast was like a, and the third beast had the face of a man, and the fourth beast was like a flying eagle. You might want to do some research on what you come up with. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse. And when those beasts give glory and honor and thanks to him that sat on the throne, who lives forever and ever, the 24 elders fall down before him that sat on the throne, and worship him that lives forever and ever, and cast their crowns before the throne, saying, You are worthy, O Adonai, to receive glory and honor and power, for you have and for you are and were created.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw in the right hand of him that sat on the throne a book written within, and on sealed with 7 seals. And I saw a strong angel proclaiming with a loud voice, Who is worthy to open and to loose the seals thereof? And no man in heaven, nor in earth, neither under the earth, was able to neither to look thereon. And I wept much, to open and to read the book, neither to look thereon. And one of the elders said, Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Yehudah, the root of David, have prevailed to open the book and to look. Verse 4. And I wept much, because no man was found and to read the book, neither to look thereon. And one of the elders says unto me, Weep not, behold, the tribe of Yehudah, David have prevailed to open the book and to loose the 7 seals thereof. And I beheld, and lo, in the midst of the throne and of the 4, and in the midst of the elders stood a lamb, slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of Elohim sent forth into all the.
No man, it said that verse 3 was able to open the book, neither to look thereon. It was the Messiah. Paul told you. And it was caught up into the third son to speak, right? That's why he wasn't in heaven with it.
7. And he came and took the book out of the right hand of him that sat upon the throne. And when he had taken the book, the 4 beasts and 24 elders before the Lamb, every one of them harps and vials full of odors, which are the prayers of saints. And they sung a new, you are worthy to take the book and to open the seals thereof. You were slain and have redeemed us to Elohim by your blood out from among every kindred and people and nation, and have made us unto our Elohim kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth. I beheld, and I heard the voice of the beasts and the elders, and the number of them was 10,000 times 10,000 and thousands of thousands, saying with a loud voice, worthy is the Lamb that slain to receive riches and wisdom and strength and honor and glory and blessing.
Now we still only see others in heaven, and a great company of people there. Wasn't no other people there, but when you listen to the church, everybody that died go to heaven. That means Hitler gonna be there, Muhammad the Bush is gonna be there. All they have to do is on their deathbed say, Father, forgive me, and they're gonna be saved. Biggest lie I've been told. Go to me, brother.
Verse 13. And every creature which is in heaven and on the earth, under in the sea, and honor, and glory, and power, be unto him that sits on the throne, and unto the Lamb forever and ever. And the 4 beasts said, Amen. And the 24 elders fell down and worshiped him that lives forever and ever. And I saw when the Lamb opened, and I heard, as it were, the noise of thunder, one of the 4 beasts come and see. And I saw, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer.
Okay, my brother, I don't want to go no further than that now. Hundreds, the Arabs or Antichrist took Zion in jihad, and it even stopped the Christians from visiting Zion. So being outraged, Pope Urban II and mandated a crusade, a war of the cross. The crusades began as pagan Christian marched Zion to take Jerusalem from the Arabs they called Israel. Although they were unsuccessful in 9 crusades financing Christian monarchs and the common people of the Christian belief, the pillaging made the Roman Catholic Church super rich and super powerful. But the Catholics were in for another shot. In 1972, a monk named Martin Luther and his Lutheran and authority of the church, their demands were rejected, and the Protestant daughter of the mother of Harless was brought forth. And this very day, the mother of Harless and her Protestant-dominated daughter, all the real powers of the earth today. Now, let's go into Revelation chapter 6. And I want you to read verse, pick that up a bit. Revelation chapter 6 and verse 7.
Yes, sir. I heard the voice of the 4th beast say, Come see. And behold, the horse. And his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given to the 4th part of the earth to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with. And when he had opened the seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them, the testimony which they held, and they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Adonai, holy and true, do you not avenge our blood? And white robes were given unto everyone. And it was said unto them that they should yet for a little season unto their fellow servants also and their brethren, that as they were, should be.
And read verse 9 through verse 18. They got a book out called Behold the Pale Horse. It's an old book, but you might want to read it.
Verse 9. And here is the mind which have wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sits. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, the other is not yet come. And when he comes, he must continue a short space. It's not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7th, and goes into perdition.
He's the 8th, and they had 7 heads rule over this empire. So this one is the, lets you know that what this is, the Roman Empire.
Verse 12. And the 10 horns are 10 kings, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These and strength unto the beast shall be the lamb, and the lamb shall overcome. They of lords and king of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. And he says unto me, the which you saw where horse sit are peoples and tongues. And the 10 horns which you saw upon the beast shall hate the whore, and naked eat her flesh with fire. For put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree, and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the shall be fulfilled. And the woman which you saw reigns over the earth.
Okay, so we know that we, right? Okay, now let's go into chapter 13, brother, and I want you to read verse 1 through verse 8. Got ecclesiastical Babylon on the scene. Now let's go back and put political Babylon on the scene. Revelation chapter 13 and verse 1 through verse 18.
Verse 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his head the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion, and his power and great authority.
And they were either beasts of prey or birds of prey, weren't they? And we were the prey. So go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 3. And I saw one of his heads, as it were, wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world after
Fell in 4 AD, and they divided it among everybody but us. And the EU, this new girl back in the Holy Roman Empire. Go ahead and read, brother.
Yes, sir. Verse 4. And they worship Satan, which gave power unto the beast. And they worship him who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him. And that was given unto him among great things and given unto him to continue 40. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in. And it was to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have an ear, let him. He that leads into captivity shall go into captivity. Kills with the sword, be killed with the sword. Patience.
Right. We haven't been at war with anybody collectively since 78, talking about us, and we haven't put anybody in captivity. So this whole thing is boiling down to what? The destruction of Yahweh. And it's all done by what? Euro-Gentile. I was leading the world in a crusade against Yahweh's holy people. Brother.
Verse 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, was like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon.
So we had the empire in the beginning. Now what we have here is ecclesiastical Babylon, right? Okay, go ahead and read.
And he exercised the power of the first beast before him, and caused the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose is here.
In other words, the Pope is going to be top dog, ain't he?
Verse 13. And he does great wonders, so that he down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceives the earth by the means of those miracles which he had to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live. And he had power to give life to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and be killed. And he causes all, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell he that had the mark, name of the number. Here is where he count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666.
And his number is vicarious for lead the eyes. You might want to copy that chart down and put it in your notes. And in fact, I think I'm going to have somebody else to print out some sheets so you can keep that in your book so you can deal with those things. And as far as the churches is concerned, I think we got a chart on that here someplace. I don't know where. The chart. Oh, there it is over there behind that that mirror over there. It got kind of, y'all know how we do things. We put things on where you know it's torn up. But we're going to put a stop to that pretty soon. Okay, there is the churches. Churches are the Roman broke down into all these little bitty holes.
Little bitty hole.
Yeah. Read, Steve.
That was it, El.
That was it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let's go into Daniel. Let's see some of the other things that they're going to do. Let's go into Daniel chapter 11 and verse 36 through verse 45. Daniel chapter 11 and verse 36 through verse 45.
That name is just like on the telephone. You got my number, alphabetical order.
Correct. Now you got your area.
For that it shall be done. Neither shall he regard the God of his fathers, nor the desire of women, nor regard shall magnify above all. And his is the God of forces, and a God whom his fathers knew not shall he honor with gold and silver, and with precious stones and pleasant things.
You just read that. Go ahead and read, brother.
Yes, sir. Verse 39. Thus shall he do in the strongholds with a strength whom he shall acknowledge and increase with glory, and he shall cause them to rule over many, and shall divide the land. And at the time of the end shall the king of the south, and the king of the north shall come against him like a whirlwind, with chariots and with horsemen and ships, enter into the countries, and shall overflow and pass over.
In other words, Antichrist on all the. Okay, go ahead and read.
41. He shall enter also into the glorious land, and many countries shall be overthrown. But these shall escape out of his hand, even Edom and Moab, and the chief of the children of Ammon. He forth his hand also upon the countries, and the land of Egypt shall not escape. Have power over the treasures of gold and of silver, and over all the precious things, Libyans and Ethiopians shall be at him. Tidings out of the east and out of the north shall trouble him. Therefore he shall go forth with great fury to destroy, and utterly to make away many. And he shall plant the tabernacles of his palace between the seas and the glorious holy mountain. Yet his end and none.
Once those horns, those 10 crowns rather, destroy Christianity as we know it today, then the Pope, right? Okay, I'll pick that up in verse 4 through verse 10, brother.
Yes, sir. But you, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. Then I, Daniel, looked, and behold, there stood other two, the one on this side of the bank of the river, side of the bank, clothed in linen, of the river, be to the ends of these wonders. Heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, when he held up his right hand and his left, swear by him that times and a half, and when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, all shall be finished.
Okay, now, when we get into the 70 week, 69, he taught a half week. It said that he shall confirm the covenant with many for one week, right? So we know that the Pope is going to confirm a covenant with Esau, that animal sacrifice to the beast. Who better to do the animal sacrifice than the people that they call holy people? But we know that the Messiah years, which gave us 69 and a half weeks, and the other half week is the great tribulation period. Then the 70 weeks of Daniel will be accomplished. But go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 8. Then said my Adonai, what shall be the end of these things? And he said, thy way, Daniel, closed up and sealed till the time of the end. Many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly. None of the wicked shall understand, but shall understand.
We know that we're going to be purified white through the trials and tribulation that Lucifer throws at us in our day-to-day. As we witness Yahweh's holy word, and we see just how the European Union, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, the United Nations, and member states of the Euro reviving the Holy Roman Empire. But the real problem they face is many hands in the wealth of Christianity. Miss Liberty, the protect Romanism, will destroy the great whore of Christianity. Then will the 10th and last false prophet will get this false Messiah would then move to Jerusalem, capital city. These things Jacob's trouble be for a prey, and only those protected by the holy angels will survive the worldwide destruction. Those who do not worship and serve Caesar and the impostor Messiah that has turned himself into a god with a little g. Psalms chapter 91 and verse 1 through. Psalms chapter 91 and verse 1 through verse 16.
Verse 1. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow.
And go into the wilderness, that 2/3 is, we know it's going to happen. We're going to have to leave there because Jake going to tell everybody where you at. We're going to have a place. And the scripture already told us whole defense. So regards to what satellites they fly in the area, no, those millions of people that's going to be out there in that wilderness. But go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 2. I will say of Yahweh, he is my refuge and my fortress, Elohim, in him. Surely he shall deliver and from the noisome pestilence. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy and buckler. Thou shalt not for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flies by day, nor for the pestilence that walks in darkness, nor the destruction that wasteth at noonday thy side, and 10,000 hand, but it shall be near you.
Now we got to get out of here before Yahweh start pouring his wrath upon the earth, which is the trumpets and the right? And when he pours that wrath upon the earth, we can see how he's talking about the pestilences and the stuff that's walking in the darkness, the waste at noonday, the arrows that's flying by day and by night. He say, you right? Okay, go ahead, bro.
Verse 8. Only with your eyes shall you behold and see the reward of the wicked. Because our refuge, even the Most High, your habitation, there shall no evil befall you, neither shall any plague come near your dwelling.
Praise God.
For he shall give his angels charge over you to keep you in all your ways. against the stone. You shall tread upon the lion and adder, the young lion and dragon shall you trample under feet. Because he has love upon me, therefore will I deliver. I will set him on high, because he have known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. Long life will I satisfy and show him my salvation.
Praise Yah. Isaiah chapter 40, 20. He says, chapter verse 8 through verse 20.
But thou, Israel, are my servant, Jacob, whom I have chosen, the seed of Abraham, my friend. Thou, whom I have taken from the ends of the earth, and called thee from the chief men thereof, and said unto thee, Thou art my servant. I have chosen thee, and not cast thee. He says, chapter 41, verse 10. Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed. Yea, I will help thee. Yea, I will uphold thee with the right hand of my righteousness.
The power of the master, right? That's through the angels of Yahweh, right?
Verse 11. Behold, all they that were incensed against thee shall be ashamed and confounded. They shall be as nothing, and they that strive with thee shall perish. Thou shalt seek them, and shalt not find them, even them that contended with thee. They that thee shall be as nothing and as a thing of naught.
Because to take all of the wicked out of the earth. Go ahead, brother.
Thou and said unto thee, Fear not thee. Fear not, thou worm Jacob, and you men. I will help thee, says Yahweh, and thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. Behold, I will make thee a new sharp threshing instrument having teeth.
A new sharp threshing instrument. Not the kind of weaponry that man got today, but a new sharp instrument having teeth, right? Go ahead, brother.
Last verse 15. Thou shalt thresh the mountains, eat them small, shall make the hills as chaff. Shall fan them, and the wind carry them away, and the whirlwind shall scatter them. And thou shalt rejoice in Yahweh, glory in the Holy One of Israel.
Now, he's not these mountains like we got that these folks got up on the set up on the whole earth. When the Messiah stands upon the Mount of Olives, all the mountains on the earth. Okay, and go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 17. When they seek water, and there is none, and their tongue fails for thirst, I, Yahweh, will hear them. Israel will not forsake them. Rivers and fountains in the midst of the valleys, I will make the wilderness a pool of water, and the dry land springs of water. I will plant in the wilderness the cedar, the shittah tree, and the myrtle, and the oil tree. I will set in the desert the fir tree, and the pine, and the box tree together, that they may see, and know, and consider, and understand the hand of Yahweh this, and the Holy One of Yisrael have created.
In other words, what he's going to plant in the and in the desert is a forest. And once he plant that forest, then we can very well see how easy it's going to be to raise holy people from the adversary. Daniel chapter 8 through verse 25. Daniel chapter 23 through verse 25.
And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressor, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences, shall stand up. And his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. Destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people.
And all of this is boiled down to one thing. Lucifer setting up his religion on the last thing upon the earth, and they destroying Yahweh's holy people. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 20. And through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand.
We read where he was going to have fire to come down from heaven in the sight of men, right? Okay, go ahead.
And he shall magnify himself in his heart, and he shall destroy. He shall also stand up against the princes, but he shall be broken without hand.
And this is the man that we know that's going to fight with the try to fight with the Messiah. Right? He comes, that ain't going to be no fight at all. Chosen, predestinated of Yahweh Elohim is not just for our own learning, but that we may aid the Spirit in its works, that other souls may be saved. If not us, the natural branches, then who? And if not now, then when? We are people with a power unknown to be taught by the Holy Spirit, use that power to Yahweh's glory. And the misuse of that power hinders the works in the Spirit. But let us hear the conclusion of this matter. Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 1 through chapter 13 and verse 16. Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 1 through chapter 13 and verse 16. I guess y'all know I'm leading up to our deliverance. This is why I did this class here today, because it wasn't one place to go after the last series of classes I did. Hebrews 12, and pick that up at verse 1 through chapter 13 and verse 16, my brother.
Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which does so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us, looking unto Yahshua, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was before him endured the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of Elohim. For consider him that endured contradiction of sinners against himself, lest you be wearied and faint in your minds.
If you consider him, then you know what kind of you're going to be then, won't you? Okay. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 4. Have not yet resisted unto blood, striving against sin.
You haven't the innocent blood yet as you strive against sin. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 5. And you have forgotten the exhortation which speaks unto you as unto children. My son, despise not you the chastening of the Adonai, nor faint when you are rebuked of him.
When anything come up, is this chastisement.
Verse 6. Adonai loves and scourges every whom he receives. Chastening, Elohim deals with you as with sons, for whom the Father chastened not. But if you be chastisement, whereof all are partakers, then are you bastards and not sons. Furthermore, we have had fathers of flesh which corrected us, and we gave them reverence. Shall we not much rather be in subjection unto the Father of and live? A few days after that, but we might be partakers of his holiness. Now no chastening for the present seems to be joyous, but grievous. Nevertheless, afterward it yields the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them.
You receive it as meant and do what? You have to be exercised by it. In other words, you must repent. Because he shall give his angels charge over you, and they shall bear you up in their wings, lest at any time you dash your foot against a stone. Go ahead and read.
Verse 12. Therefore lift up the hands which hang down, and the feeble knees, and make straight paths for your feet, lest that which is lame be turned out of the way, but let it rather be healed. Follow peace with all men, and holiness, without which no man shall see the Adonai, looking diligently, lest any man fail of the grace of Elohim, bitterness springing up trouble you, and thereby many be defiled. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person, as Esau, also of meat, soul is burnt.
What's your problem? We have people that come in and study here for a couple of years and think they know everything. Now they're ready to give up the birthright. When they left here, they took the spirit. Go ahead and read. But if you notice, all of them are doing what? All of them talking about us. All of them off in our stuff, right? You know what? I'm inclined to believe that they are the children of them folks that they're living up to Messiah. Go ahead and read.
17. For that outward, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected. For he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears.
Right. They could. Why? We read why. Because they are part. Okay. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 18. For you are not come unto the mount that might be touched, and that burn with fire, nor unto blackness and darkness and tempest, and the sound of a trumpet, and the voice of words, which voice they that heard entreated that the word should not be spoken to them anymore. For they could not endure that which was commanded. And if so much as a beast touch the mountain, it shall be stoned or thrust through with a dart. And so terrible was the sight that Moshe said, I expect fear and quake. But you'll come unto Mount Sion and unto the city of the living Elohim, the heavenly, and to a noble company of angels, to the general and church of the firstborn, which are written in heaven, and to Elohim, the judge of all, and to the spirits of just men made perfect, and to Yahshua, the mediator of the new covenant, and to the blood of sprinkling that speaks better things than that of Abel. See that you refuse not him that speaks. For if they escape not who refuse him that spake on earth, much more shall not we escape if we turn away from him that speaks from heaven. Voice then shook the earth, but now he hath promised, saying, Yet once more I shake not the earth only, but also heaven. And this word, yet moving of those things that are shaken, as of faith, that those things which cannot be shaken may remain. Wherefore we receiving a kingdom which cannot be moved, let us have grace whereby we may serve Yah acceptably with reverence and godly fear. For our Elohim is a consuming fire. Let brotherly love be not forgetful to entertain angels, for thereby strangers, I'm sorry, did it again. For thereby some have entertained angels unawares. Remember them that are in bonds as bound with them, and them which suffer adversity as being yourselves also in the body. Marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled. But whoremongers and adulterers Yah will judge.
Now, instead of adultery, about fornicators, right? The Messiah is clear. He said, you have heard it said that thou shalt not commit adultery. But I say unto you, whosoever look upon a woman to lust after her, committed adultery with her already in his heart. Now, if she's a single woman, he said, if they're two single people, he said they've committed adultery, right? You know why? You've sinned against your Creator. Fornication is a sin against your own body. And it's the only sin that tells you that it's against your body. And guess what? It's running rampant in the streets, right? Y'all, we got some farm. AIDS and chlamydia and a whole lot of other things out there because of illicit sexual off into. But that's because they're not. So let us always find time to give y'all that we wouldn't be about those things, that he gave us some order that we must be about. And if we disorder, then you ain't you. Okay. Go ahead and read, brother.
And if you leave your first love and go to another camp, that's adultery.
Yes, brother.
Yeah.
Go ahead and finish up.
Let your conversation be without covetousness, and be content with such. For he hath said, I will never leave thee, nor forsake
We
thee.
ain't never content. We get this, we got to have, get that, we got to have something else. Be content. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 6, so that we may boldly say, the Adonai is my helper, and I will not fear what man shall do unto you. Remember them which have the rule over you, who have spoken unto you the word of Elohim, whose faith follow, considering the end of their conversation.
They didn't say their works, they say follow their faith, right? Considering the end of their conversation, which is your salvation. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 8, Yahshua HaMashiach the same yesterday and today and forever. Be not carried about with divers and strange doctrines, For it is a good thing that the heart be established with grace, not with knowledge, which have not profited them that have been occupied therein. We have an altar, whereof they have no right to eat, which serve the tabernacle. For the bodies of those beasts whose blood is brought in the sanctuary by the high priest for sin are burned without the camp. Wherefore Yahshua also, that he might sanctify the people with his own blood, suffered without the gate. Let us go forth therefore unto him without the camp, bearing his reproach. For here have we no continuing city, but we seek one to come.
Praise Yah.
By him, therefore, let us offer the sacrifice of praise to Yahweh continually, that is, the fruit of our lips, giving thanks to his name. But to do good and to communicate, forget not, for with such sacrifices Elohim is well pleased.
Amen and amen. We see our calling, brothers and sisters, how Yahweh has laid out things for us to follow. And if we follow these things, then truly we all shall meet in Zion, we all shall worship the God of Israel, and we all shall glorify Yahshua HaMashiach that saved us by his own blood and whose spirit we have today. Think of these things, Israel, because our God is truly a consuming fire, and he meant everything he said. So it's been said, so let it be written. Even so, come, Lord Yahshua, and save us out of our problems. That's all I'm going to do today. May Yahweh have mercy upon us.